On July 8, 1874, approximately 300 Mounties marched west to bring law and order and defend the border. They took the very hard journey from Fort Dufferin, Winnipeg to Fort Whoop-Up, Lethbridge. The Métis scout Jerry Potts helped the NWMP find the fort when they were lost. When the NWMP arrived at Fort Whoop-Up, almost everyone was gone. Someone had warned the Whiskey-Tours that the Mounties were coming.
After weeks of looking for a new flag, the flag committee had 15 finalists they placed into one of three groups. Group A, flagged with 3 maple leaves in the middle. Group B, 1 maple leaf in the middle. Group C, flagged with emblems from other countries. A secret vote was taken. Committee members couldn't believe it. They had all chosen the same category, the single maple leaf.
The major impact of the Klondike Gold Rush was the development of the Yukon Territory. The gold rush left an infrastructure of supply and support that led to the continued development of the territory. The gold rush left roads, stores, government, schools, and banks that allowed people to live there. The Yukon was made a territory on June 13, 1898. Had it not been for the discovery of gold, the development of the territory would have taken a longer time.
Camp X was started by Canadian Sir William Stephenson in 1941. Only a PhD who could win in a bar fight was selected as a trainee. The training process was rigorous, involving the instruction of physical combat and escaping skills, and the enforcement of a merciless mindset.
Le canot est une structure en bois et en écorce. Il y a des positions dans les canots spécifiquement pour les voyageurs de ramée. Les milieux, les bouts, le guide et le gouvernail. Les milieux sont déplacés à chaque côté du canot. Les bouts sont à chaque bout du canot. Le guide dirige le canot. Le gouvernail doit chanter toutes les chansons pour les voyageurs. Saviez-vous que les bouts ont des rames plus longues?
Excuse me, you don't know who I am? I'm Emily Stowe, the woman of first. I was the first female to become a principal in Upper Canada, and I was also the first female to practice medicine in Canada. You know what? I'll tell you my life story, and then you'll determine my importance to Canada.
Marie Rollet Hébert. Elle a accompagné son conjoint, Louis Hébert, lors d'une expédition au Nouveau Monde. Lui se lançait dans une carrière d'apothicaire et fermier. Ils sont déménagés les premiers au Québec en 1617. Cela fait 400 ans. Ils possédaient la première maison de pierre. Marie Rollet Hébert fabriquait le savon, les chandelles, les vêtements. Elle soignait les malades, enseignait aux enfants et donnait les médicaments. Lorsque son mari mourut et que les Anglais vinrent, elle est restée au Québec. Ils sont ancêtres de milliers de Québécois. Elle est décédée à 69 ans.
I realized that many people, when they think about Confederation, they think of our fathers of Confederation, and I became curious on whether the women played a role in Confederation. My project acknowledges the women's role before, during, and after Confederation. There were many important and influential women involved in Confederation, such as Nana Bawekwe, also known as Catherine Sutton. She was an Ojibwa activist and fought for First Nation rights before Confederation. But I have decided to focus my project on 3 main women: Lady Agnes MacDonald, Anne Brown, and Mercy Coles.
Welcome to Coleman's. Our family business was established in 1934 by the son of a Glace Bay coal miner.
My great-great-grandfather, Arthur James, was a plumber, and returning from work one evening, his truck broke down. When he came back to his truck in the morning, he found his tools had been stolen. Discouraged but not beaten, he took his truck, 6 kids and wife Maggie, along with a cow and 38 hens, and traveled to Corner Brook, Newfoundland, where he set up a small over-the-counter convenience store. That was the start of our family business.
Why is it important to restore homes?
I think it's really important to restore the homes and buildings around Bonavista because it's an important part of our history, Claire. And right now, a lot of these home restorations and the restorations of Bonavista Creative really have an important role to play in employment in the community and business growth in the community. A lot of what we're doing is creating jobs and saving our history and creating a stronger future for Bonavista.
I'd lost my dad when I was 16 months old, so I never knew as much as I wanted to about his side of the family, and this project allowed me to learn a lot of things that I never thought possible about my family. Within 2 months, I was able to trace back to my 21st times great-grandparents. This was back in the 1300s, and the 1300s were the years of the Black Plague, having Edward II as the King of England, and much more. Along with being able to trace back to my 21st times great-grandparents, I was able to trace back to over 5,500 of my ancestors.
By 1750, the land controlled by New France or her native allies stretched from Labrador to the Gulf of Mexico. From Great Britain Island west to the prairies, she controlled a huge fur trading empire through Quebec, Ontario, and into the Ohio River Valley. Yet, in less than a decade, most of this would be gone, and the great North American empire had fallen.
Inuit make mitts to keep their self warm during cold winter season. Inuit live all over the Arctic, but I'm going to talk about Inuit from Nunavut to keep their hands warm.
I chose this topic for a couple of reasons. The first is that I want to become a paramedic, so I want to know everything there is to know about them. The second is that my community does not have an ambulance, so I wanted the people to know what a paramedic is and what they do, so in case there's ever an emergency, they know that they can trust paramedics to help them. The third and final reason is that paramedics don't get enough recognition in this world. They're usually sometimes just called ambulance drivers. And they do more than just drive an ambulance. They help patients, they transfer patients, they take care of them. They're not just ambulance drivers.
My great-oma and opa are also immigrants to Canada. They were newly married and my great-oma was pregnant with their first child, my grandpa, when they traveled from Holland. They sailed from Holland on the SS Waterman and arrived at Pier 21 in Halifax in July 1952. They chose to come to Canada as a way to start over after some business plans had fallen through. They had a friend who owned a farm and promised them work on his farm when they arrived. They worked hard and made a good life here for their family.
Nos pièces officielles de circulation commençaient plus que siècle passé. Toutes nos pièces de monnaie étaient créées en Grande-Bretagne. Mais le 2 janvier 1908, le gouverneur Earl Grey a convaincu que le Canada peut aussi frapper des pièces. Donc, il a besoin d'un établissement pour produire les pièces. Cet établissement est bâti en Ottawa, le 320 Sussex Drive. 31, l'édifice est purement canadien.
The first Canadian woman in the House of Commons was Agnes MacPhail. During her time, she made the prisons less cruel and fairer for the prisoners. She spent 30 years in the House of Commons, and even though it was on and off, and not for 30 years straight, she still made a gigantic impact.
My family's journey started in Naples, Italy, and they went to Canada for a better life and future, and they landed in Halifax, Nova Scotia.
These are some of the many boats that came through Pier 21. This is the boat of my Nana, my great-grandmother, and my 2 uncles who came from Italy, the SS Crisparo Colombo. This is where my grandmother spent 10 days in a boat to her journey to Canada. She was very seasick and stayed in her cabin the whole time.
Honorable James Warburton was born in Ireland in 1810 and moved to Lot 11 in western Prince Edward Island in 1834. Honorable James Warburton was a land agent and moved to the island when he was appointed to manage the estate of Sir Edward J. Walsh. In 1837, he married Martha Compton Green and they had 8 children. Honorable James Warburton is popular among the tenants of Lot 11 as they came to respect his fairness and understanding of their wishes. Under his leadership, Lot 11 transformed from a semi-feudal ownership to a community of privately owned family farms. This was unheard of at the time as it happened without any violence or fighting.
In 1963, Catherine's father died, so she decided to come home and work in the family business. As time passed, she got involved in the community, and people asked her to run for MP, Member of Parliament for Malpec. She thought about it and decided to run. Catherine got elected MP.
En effet, l'histoire des postes remonte à 1693 avec le premier messager officiel de la Nouvelle-France, Pedro da Silva. D'origine portugaise, M. da Silva, qui est un grand explorateur, décida de s'établir à Québec et de commencer un autre genre de voyage, la livraison du courrier entre Montréal et Québec. En 1763, 4 ans après la bataille des Plaines d'Abraham, le gouvernement britannique engagea le premier maître de poste officiel, Hugh Finlay. Il était un commerçant d'origine écossaise et c'est d'ailleurs dans son propre commerce qu'il était le premier bureau de poste sur la rue Saint-Pierre à Québec.
In Canada, suffrage, meaning the right to vote, has been lengthy and complicated. Its history involves numerous groups being unfairly excluded, restricted, and disenfranchised through the constantly changing political circumstances. Beginning in 1900, most women were actually allowed to vote, only they were limited to the small-scale municipal elections. Subsequently, in 1910, the National Council of Women, which was one of the country's oldest advocacy groups, endorsed female suffrage. In the year of 1912, British suffragist Barbara Wiley gave her speech in Montreal.
First off, I spent days slaving away in another guy's mind, working really hard to make sure that he's rich while I get barely any of the reward. And there's also the fact that I'm really hungry because food in Dawson City is super expensive. Sometimes I wish I could find gold. That's why I'm panicked. It's where I spend all my days when I'm not working.
INCA est important et encore relevant aujourd'hui parce que chaque 12 minutes, une personne devient aveugle. L'histoire de INCA est que l'explosion de Halifax et la Première Guerre mondiale sont la cause de la perte de vie et d'être pour plusieurs Canadiens.
The reason I created this film is because Sam Johnston is our clan leader, elder, and role model in our community. He is the heart of our town. My family gives him the highest amount of respect. As a storyteller, he is funny, creative, and his legends teach lessons for life. He is everything to us.
I like dancing because it carries on my tradition and my culture. I like dancing because it's fun and I could see new places.